all you theater nerds and social butterflies. You are listening to another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent. I am sitting here with the one and only Betsy.
Hello! It's like the end of Wicked where she did that one note.
And it just kept on going.
And it just kept
and
on
going. And going.
Yeah.
And going. Yeah, Betsy, we are here. Holy crap. It has been almost an entire year since we covered the first Wicked movie, and for some reason we've decided, you know what? Let's cover two Wicked movies in the same year.
Well, that's our own fault because we could have seen this movie in 2024.
Yeah.
But we waited until 2025 to watch Wicked Part 1. So now it just happens that we're doing both in the same calendar year.
Of course. So if you haven't figured it out by now, we're going to be covering Wicked for Good today. Now, Betsy, before we get into the movie, I would just like to point out that Betsy and I are breaking one of our rules of our podcast. We watched Wicked Part 1 again just last night, as a refresher to go into the sequel.
Normally, we won't do that before we have our year-end awards show.
That's right. But because we kind of forget sometimes, or at least I forget sometimes.
We watched a lot of movies between then and today.
Yes. So we rewatched Wicked Part 1 last night as a refresher going into Wicked Part 2. Please don't come at us with your pitchforks. Even though it's our own fucking rule, it's a very stupid rule.
No one cares, Trent.
No one cares.
Most people,
I broke the rule once before because I watched the Mario movie before our award show.
And most people who do podcasts tend to watch the movie multiple times before talking about it.
Yeah, and we're not those people. We're quite busy outside of this podcast. Anyway, that being out of the way, Betsy, tell me about Wicked for Good. Why isn't it called Part 2?
Okay, first and foremost, that drives me insane.
Yeah?
When people change course in the middle, and it has happened now 3 times in recent memory, because Mission Impossible was supposed to be called Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then they changed it to The Final Reckoning. This one was supposed to be Part 1 and Part 2. Dune is about to do it because they're going to call it Dune Messiah, I believe.
Well, that's different because the first 2 Dune movies are based on one book, and then the subsequent book is called Dune Messiah.
I don't really care. My problem is with the naming conventions of movies and their sequels, especially when you knew there was going to be a sequel.
Yeah, and
just
like I didn't
consistent.
know I don't know anything about Dune. I really don't know it. I know even less about Wicked, so these naming conventions are bothering me.
The only group of people that are allowed to do it is the Fast and Furious.
Sure, yeah.
Because they don't have a plan. They just kind of keep adding to it, so they keep having to be creative.
Betsy, I don't think we're ever going to get the next Fast and Furious movie.
It kind of feels like that is not going to happen anytime soon or
anyway,
ever.
Betsy, we're very, very off track here.
I know, but it's really bothersome when the first movie is called Wicked Part 1 and the second movie is called Wicked for Good.
It's barely called Part 1, though.
I know. It's just
it's
something.
Bad. Just call it bad.
It's
It's bad.
I'm hung up on.
Yes.
But Wicked for Good. As we said when we watched Wicked, neither Trent nor I has ever seen the musical.
Correct.
So I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I certainly didn't know that the first act is where the movie ends, that the big finish, Defying Gravity, is the end of the first act. That feels like a show-ending song. But no, it's not. It's only halfway through the show. So we're presumably going to pick up either right where we left off or there's going to be a time jump. My assumption is there's a time jump.
Yeah, we've been kind of surmising here off mic about, okay, where do we see the story going? Because the first one is about their relationship and going to shiz together. I'm never going to get over that name. They're going to school together. They go through whatever that they're going through in their relationship. Then they separate. And I fully believe that there's got to be some kind of a time jump here because they introduce, and we talked about this in the first episode. By the way, if you want to re-listen to our episode, it is the first episode that we released in this year, 2025. So go back and listen to that one if you want a refresher on our opinions. But I mentioned in that episode the little lion cub that they have in class. That's got to be the Cowardly Lion, and that's just a baby lion. it's clearly going to grow up.
So logic dictates it's quite a time jump.
Yes.
And I don't know the exact way that the second half of the show plays out. The only thing I know is things get complicated. And
Yeah.
to say more would be to enter spoiler territory.
Yeah,
because
so-
it's inevitable I hear things, especially because I'm a little more tapped into the musical theater community than you are.
Of course.
But I don't exactly know how things unfold.
The only thing I know about what's going to happen in part 2 is that this is the dark chapter and it's not the middle chapter. It is just the second part of the movie.
And when it's over, it's over.
Yeah. But I do remember getting very, very excited at the idea that, oh, we're going to get some of the Dorothy and her friend's story because clearly the wizard is hiring this group of miscreants as hitman to go and kill the witch.
We're retconning a lot of The Wizard of Oz.
Or are we?
Or are we?
We're just seeing more behind the curtain. Betsy, stop me if you've
The
heard this
man-
before.
The man behind the curtain, you say?
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to be retconning stuff or if they're just going to be sprinkling in extra details that we didn't get in the first movie, almost 100 years ago.
And as far as the musical, literally the only song I know is in the second half is called For Good. And that's why the movie is
Okay.
called that. But I think there's a couple of original ones. I think they have added to it for the purposes of the movie.
And that's different than what they did for the first one because
No,
there weren't
they didn't do
any
that.
there weren't any original songs in the first movie.
They're saving it for the big finish.
Well, they're also expecting to get a lot more Oscar nominations out of the second one. That would be one of them if there's an original song. But the other thing that I think I know about the movie is that this is going to focus more on Glinda and less on Elphaba, which makes sense because Elphaba is probably on her own trying to consolidate whatever kind of power that she has. Clearly, the flying monkeys are eventually going to be on her side. And Glinda's going to be back with the wizard and the professor and all of the other characters that we've already met. So trying to extrapolate more than what we already said is going to be really difficult because we're just kind of guessing at this point.
Based on what we saw in the first one, we assume there's some kind of plan that is hatched,
Yeah.
that maybe there's some propaganda and countering the propaganda. And how
Yeah.
do we get out of this?
Yeah, propaganda is very much the name of the game here. And one thing that we noticed upon our rewatch last night, when it is revealed that Elphaba has these powers in front of all of the other students that she's being introduced to, there's kind of this stone tablet that is up, covering up some artwork. And the artwork is depicting the school when it used to be taught by all animals.
They're burying it.
Yeah, they
And
covered
that's-
it up.
And I'm sure that is going to play a large part of the second movie because we only sort of started to get to the meat and potatoes of it by the
Right.
end of the first one.
And in the first part of the first movie, we see all of these signs about, kill the witch with water and the wicked witch and all of this other propaganda. So I fully believe we're going to get a lot more of that. We're going to expand upon that. And yeah, we're just going to fill in the rest of the gaps. And that's what this whole movie is going to be. So I think with that, Betsy, unless you had anything else to say,
I'll be curious if I'll cry again
Same
because
here.
I cried like full body sobs at the end of Wicked Part 1. And then we watched it last night and I'm like, I'm a grown woman and time has passed and I'll be okay. I was not okay.
Nope, she was a mess.
Same thing.
So with that, we're going to go to the theater and watch Wicked for good. We will be right back. And that was Wicked for Good. Betsy, how are you feeling walking out of that one?
Listen, we tweeted about it, and this is all I'm going to touch on for the matter. but there were some shitty teenagers in that movie theater who were pissing me off pretty much the
Yeah.
entire movie.
Yeah, kind of soured our taste on the entire experience.
It's really hard to get completely absorbed by a movie when every 5 seconds these shitty teenagers are talking or turning their fucking phones on. I promise I'm not that old that all I
No.
do is complain about the youth.
No, I'm sure we're going to have a lengthier conversation about, theater etiquette, in another setting. But Betsy, about the movie.
Right. So
What are your feelings?
Setting that aside, I had heard already that some people are like, well, the second half is very different from the first. And, the reception has been pretty positive. But as I said in the intro, I've never seen the second half. It was kind of just okay. It was kind of just okay for me. And I really don't think it's the experience that we had, because there was enough time that I was able to just enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But it's just, they put so much in the first half, and all the best songs are in the first half, and all the interesting things, and the funny lines, and the funny scenes.
Yeah.
All of that is relegated to Act 1. And now we're just like, so everything sucks, and it's just getting worse. I didn't know like any songs in the second half, except Because I Knew You, I Have Been Changed for Good. So I kept waiting for maybe I'm wrong. I thought the same thing about the first part. Oh, I don't know any of these songs. I knew almost every fucking song in that first act. Now I'm watching it going, this is kind of forgettable as far as I was concerned. But what is your vibe?
I don't know how they went from Act 1 being this very happy and bubbly and really, really surprisingly fun experience into this almost melancholy downer of a chapter in this story.
Well, the thing I was thinking about, Trent, and I know you've seen this other movie one time, but you've never seen the stage version of another musical, and that's Into the Woods.
Okay.
And I was thinking of this one because when I was a kid, I saw the first half of Into the Woods, and it's all these fairy tales, and everything is great, and everything is happy.
It's stuff that you recognize.
And everybody gets a happy ending for intermission. And then the second half, I don't think I ever really watched as a kid. We had like a community theater recording that my grandparents had been in.
Ah, okay.
And I got bored and I was like, it's over because it's a happy ending, right? I didn't even realize there was a second half. And that is where shit goes completely wrong for all of the characters in that musical. That's what I was kind of thinking about here and trying to say, okay, there are other musicals. There is a precedent for this kind of approach where all the fun happens and then reality sets in. So I'm trying to be okay with that concept, but because I've never seen it and I've never seen the stage version of Wicked, I'm just kind of like, okay, that was the second half of Wicked.
Yeah, and I'm just going to kind of recount here something I just read about what the director was kind of thinking in breaking this whole story up into two different movies. The short version is they knew that Defying Gravity had to be the coda to something. It had to be the end. He said, this is a curtain-dropping moment, a curtain-dropping song, and it is.
Absolutely.
Now, that's number one. That's why they wanted to put that song in the first movie, because, yes, it's a great way to end that story. But then I ask myself, then why don't you just have an intermission? Movies used to, especially back in the Wizard of Oz days, movies used to have intermissions all the time. Just last year, one got nominated for Best Picture.
Every Broadway musical that got turned into a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not everyone, but most of them.
A bunch of them.
Had intermissions back in like the 50s and the 60s.
Right. So what he said was, okay, the reason why we didn't want to do that and make it into two different movies instead was that we really wanted to have the fan service. We wanted to include things from the show into the movies that it just would have been way too long in order to put in an intermission, add all the things that we wanted to have. It would have ended up being fucking 5 hours long. I understand that, but geez, I feel like when you're putting this on screen, sometimes you just have to pull the Band-Aid off and you have to lose some stuff. You know what? Just fucking film it and put it on the disc. Put it on the DVD so that all of the musical theater nerds that I've referred to, those guys can buy the DVD, they can watch it with their friends, and they can have a grand old time. But for the general audience, put it out as a standard length movie, maybe a little bit longer, but then, and only then, do you put out an extended edition for all of the huge fans.
And you know what I was thinking watching the second part was there's not a lot happening here.
No!
There wasn't enough in the second half. Like if you're going to pad the first half, why didn't you pad the second? I don't think they did. The only thing that I know for sure got added was they added the song that Ariana Grande sings.
The Bubble song.
The Bubble song. That was new. That is the original song for this movie. But this movie is just a little over 2 hours long, and kind of not a lot actually was happening. We didn't resolve so many things. And then the stuff that we figured would get resolution, like we said in the first one. So Jeff Goldblum's her dad, right?
Yeah.
The wizard is her dad. Yes, they do confirm that like 10 minutes before the movie's over. It takes that long for us to ever talk about it again.
And just the fact that they had to show that scene again just for maybe all of the children who were watching this movie
people who didn't
couldn't
pick up
figure
on
it
that.
out. Okay, this is kind of my theory here as far as how I see these two movies. The first one feels like its own thing. It's its own universe. We go to this shiz place. We're meeting all these different characters from so many different backgrounds. They're fleshing out all of these backstories. It's a whole world. It's a whole universe. Then they introduce the concepts that we first were introduced to in The Wizard of Oz. And that was exciting to me, where, especially at the beginning of the movie, you see fucking Dorothy and all of her friends going down the yellow brick road. That was exciting to me because maybe they're going to flesh out the story. Maybe they're even going to retell it in a different way. I honestly did not know what this second half was going to be. But Betsy, going from part one that is its own thing that I can just watch and be happy with, this one just feels like it was trying to be another Wizard of Oz, but darker, and they threw in the continuing stories from the first movie because they felt like they had to. To me, they were shoehorning in all of the Wizard of Oz stuff into this one, and it just didn't feel earned.
Like, I get this is another side of the story. This is what's going on over here while the Wizard of Oz is going on. Fine.
Right. It's
okay.
all concurrent stuff. I get that.
And we don't need to spend a lot of time on it. But what I hated was that why did you include her at all? Why do we keep seeing Dorothy's feet? Why do we keep seeing Dorothy's shadow? We see Toto more than we see Dorothy. And she's not the focal point. I understand. But then you throw in things like the Tin Man is fucking pissed off because he used to be a person and we watched his horrific transformation.
Yeah.
That little moment where he is singing about, I have a personal vendetta and I'm out to get this bitch.
That was really dark.
That was really dark. And I'm like, okay, I understand that we're trying to give another perspective to The Wizard of Oz, but that makes me feel like I hate The Wizard of Oz when you're doing
Right.
shit like that. It makes me
Right.
feel dirty and icky in a way I wasn't expecting.
I really appreciate the fact that they went there, but you didn't have to go that far in that direction. They are leading a goddamn lynch mob to go and kill this witch.
It's the song from Beauty and the Beast. Like, let's go get him with
Yeah,
our pitchforks.
that was the vibe I was getting.
But it's the Tin Man leading the cry and the Cowardly Lion. So I'm like, why are these people who are beloved characters from my childhood singing about murdering this woman? Like, that's real fucked up.
And you know what, Betsy? I don't think they even call attention to the Tin Man having an axe in the first in the Wizard of Oz. They're focusing on it very, very much so in this, and it is a murder device.
Like
They're treating it like it's a weapon.
He has it. It's just sort of a part of his persona. He
Sure.
doesn't really
It's
use
a
it that
prop.
much. But when it's introduced in Wicked for Good, it's angry. Like,
Yeah.
Bach, as a human being, or as a munchkin, I guess,
Yeah.
he is angry when that axe is introduced. He whacks it down, and that is how we see it for the first time.
Yeah.
And then when he gets transformed, he's a very upset little man.
And he is trying to encourage even the Cowardly Lion to have more vengeance in his heart, because he doesn't have a heart anymore, Betsy.
Yeah, and that in itself, those two characters I understand. It's the inclusion of, well, we know who the third person in this equation is, and we don't spend any time introducing how did Dorothy meet the Scarecrow, because we find out at the end that the Scarecrow is quite a significant person to Elphaba's life. And they have like this plan. He says when he shows up and it's like, oh my God, it's Fiyero. Plot twist, you know, because we didn't see Fiyero die. We didn't see exactly what happened, but we've kind of figured what happened to Fiyero. He says it worked. What the fuck did you have time
You
to
didn't
plan
have a
this?
goddamn plan for this?
And you went along with Did you just decide to hook up with this girl who has been dropped in the land of Oz and lead her completely astray to make her melt the witch, to make her believe the lie? Like, he's the one that says, that's fucking stupid. All of the people in Munchkin Land say you throw water on the witch and she's gonna melt. You give them stupid ideas like this. Is he literally there to plant that idea in stupid little Dorothy's head so
Yeah.
that we can make Elphaba disappear?
Yes.
But we don't cover any of that. It's all just like teeny bits of dialogue. And you and I are looking for it. But the average moviegoer is going to be like, huh?
Well, like I
Because
said,
I'm like, huh?
like I said, when you combine these two movies with the actual Wizard of Oz, the three people who are going to kill the witch are a bunch of fucking rubes that are convinced by the propaganda machine of this world to throw water on the witch, and that means she's gonna die.
Which is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
You see it though. The rumors are spreading, and the townspeople, they're singing about all of the different things that she does, and the water will kill her.
What
because
they've heard.
What
and-
they've heard.
Because they're all scared little people under a nasty man who lies to them. Which, let me just say, Trent, there's some things in this movie that feel very prescient to the time it is coming out. Where she tells the wizard, you are a liar, and you are going to tell everybody out there that you are full of shit. And the thing that he says is, it's not going to work. They'll never stop believing in me because they don't want to. And I'm just like, cool, not at all relevant to anything going on in the world now.
Yeah, people will never stop believing, quote, and I think this is the beginning of his song, take it from a wise old carny. The truth is what everyone agrees on. Wow. And yes, it could be a commentary. I don't know whether or not it was for the movie or the show or anything under the sun. It doesn't matter. I just know that yes, the masses, let's say, are easily duped into thinking and believing in things that, let's just say, are not in their best interest.
Trent, I literally said when we watched Wicked Part 1, an idiot fell out of the sky and they made him their god. That is the land we are living in.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody that they believe Elphaba is wicked because that's what they were told. And they're not really interested in any alternate facts.
But that's the thing. That's what a whole lot of people are saying in this movie. You need Elphaba to be the wicked witch, and you need Glinda to be the good witch or the good whatever.
People
they don't
like-
call her a witch, really.
No, they don't use the word witch, but they do like things in black and white, things that are
Or
easily
in this
understood.
case, green and pink.
Or wicked and good.
Yeah, and we have a lot more things to talk about with this movie, Betsy, but it's time for us to take a quick break. Let's compose ourselves. Let's actually talk about what we liked about the movie and some other scenes in the movie right after this word from our sponsor. You know, recently I've been bored and feeling out of sorts. My normal podcasts just weren't cutting it anymore, so I talked to my doctor, and she recommended patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and now I feel better than ever.
Patreon.com/neverseenitpod is a once-weekly subscription podcast used to create joy. Side effects may include a sense of euphoria, aching muscles from smiling, and a dependence on the host's addictive personalities. Do not take this podcast if you are allergic to fun, have a history of laughing until you pee, or are afraid of a good time.
Talk to your doctor about patreon.com/neverseenitpod today. So I said in the intro that I thought that this movie was going to be focused more on Glinda and less about Elphaba. And it was to a point. You did get the Elphaba story and her and Fiyero coming together literally. And we were treated with some backstory for Glinda and her childhood. We get the flashback to this birthday party where she really, really wants to be, magical and be able to do fantastic things because everybody is telling her that she's fantastic and beautiful and everything under the sun, which is what I think here is the crux of the movie. All of these people around her, her friends, the people who are taking advantage of her, her family, everybody is enabling Glinda.
Oh yeah, Glinda's not dumb. She's just sort of naive.
Yeah, she's been living in a bubble.
They gave her a whole song about how it has to pop. Like that's
They gave her a literal fucking bubble, Betsy.
Yes, globular. She's gonna be globular.
Betsy was singing that as we were coming downstairs, and I had to have a chuckle for that. But you get what I'm saying, though. Everybody around her is just enabling her naivete and she's got blinders on to what is actually happening around her. When we start the movie, everybody still is surrounding her. They're doing their little dance number and allowing her to do all of the things that she thinks that she's supposed to be doing. She's supposed to be all pretty and pink. She's supposed to have a whole bunch of people at her beck and call. She's supposed to marry the handsome prince or wherever the fuck he's from. But she's not actually looking at anything around her. She's not realizing that the man of her dreams is not actually in love with her.
He never proposed. She was like,
No.
Isn't it a good idea? Like, it's more propaganda.
Just springing it on. Yeah, exactly. It is propaganda. And the Michelle Yeoh character is going along with it as well because she's a useful idiot. And in the end, Glinda does finally come to her senses and realizes, okay, this is kind of fucked. The man that I wanted to be with doesn't want to be with me. That's okay. The people who were around me and said all these nice things to me, none of those people were my friends.
They're not sincere. They are just using me as a tool for their own
They're
evil deeds.
hangers on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just a figurehead. Glinda is Glinda the Good, and she doesn't even fucking know what that means. She just floats around, inspiring the people.
She's playing the role that she is born to play. In this world, they need somebody to look up to that is good. And even though she finally knows the truth about everything, she doesn't bother trying to prove to the people that all of the shit that has been happening in the background has been happening. She doesn't even try. She just sets up all of the dominoes to fall in her favor and in the favor of Oz to have the wonderful wizard go off in a fucking balloon. Bye-bye, bye-bye. And then the monkeys take away Michelle Yeoh, of course.
Listen, she eventually figures out, let's get rid of the bad people. I'm in charge now. But she also has some low lows. She literally says, you should go after Nessa. You should go after Elphaba's sister.
Right.
That's her fucking idea. Now, I don't think she necessarily believed that they were going to drop a house on her.
No, like it is the jealousy that is coming out of her. This is her lowest moment for sure. But she knows that she's good at this stuff. She knows that she can scheme along with the best of them.
She's a politician in the making, Trent.
Yeah. But she doesn't know that these other people are going to go so far as make her an accomplice to house murder.
Weapon of choice, house.
House, gravity.
Gravity.
Her sister could not define gravity. God damn it. Oh. As long as we're here, Betsy, let's talk about that whole thing. Because we find out very early on in the first movie that really the only magical thing about the Michelle Yeoh character is that she can kind of control the weather.
Clouds, wind,
rain, wind, whatever the fuck.
That's kind of all she can do.
That's kind of her main move. But she takes Glinda's advice to involve the sister in order to have Elphaba come out of the shadows and whatnot. She says, create a rumor about her sister and the fact that she's in danger, she's hurt, she's sick, something. Instead, they just fucking murder her.
They're just like, yeah, but she has to really believe it, so let's, drop a house on her.
Right, and in theory, Nessa is now the governor of Oz, So she has power, and if for whatever reason she decides to use her power against them, maybe she could and she's just a threat?
Well, she's the holdout. They keep saying everybody else in this country has like signed the laws that they want them to sign. Munchkin
Right.
Land is the holdout, and she refuses to do it. She's not going to say, oh, it's illegal for the animals to travel. It's illegal for this. It's illegal for that.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of fucking parliament there is in this world, but there's apparently a new law on the books about animal mobility, meaning you have to have a permit if you want to leave your house, if you want to leave the country, anything, you have to have permission. But after the boyfriend breaks up with her, she just goes along with it and adds on top of it saying, hey, even munchkins are not allowed to do things without a permit.
Oh, yeah. She goes full vindictive. She's like, fine, I'll sign it. And also, let's make it worse because that
Yeah.
bastard's trying to leave me.
Here's the deal, though. I mean, her as an actress, she is great, but I don't like this character move. Where the fuck did this come from? Is it just the fact that her sister left and is the Wicked Witch and her dad is dead because he died of shame? That got a chuckle out of me in the theater. What the fuck is that?
He had a heart attack and he died. So they just say,
No,
he died
of shame. What the fuck is that? What kind of medical diagnosis is this?
Well, better question, when the governor dies, why does your daughter get to be in
Yeah,
charge?
yeah.
I don't know.
What kind of monarchy is this?
She's like a teenager who was in college, so
Right.
you just decided she should be in charge now. That's
How does this work?
Listen, Trent, me and my 30-year-old college friends, we are all going to drop out and take over running this place. I'm going to be in charge of Munchkin Land. You over there, Glinda, you're going to be in charge of Oz, and all of your friends will be following you around telling you how great you are. Like literally, in, I assume, a year. They're a little bit vague on the time.
Yeah, they
because
say it's 12 tides, which
Yeah.
in the real world, that's months, but still.
my assumption is it's been about a year. But yeah, in a year, we all just dropped out of college and are running the country.
Yeah, nobody ever goes back to class. There's no more class.
No, I don't even really understand what this college was that you were all attending, this university, because there is no real magic except for Michelle Yeoh, who can control the
It's
weather.
very,
and
very
Elphaba.
selective
Yes.
as to who can do magic and who can't.
It's a dying art, to say the least. So,
Sure.
what are you going to this school for?
Honestly, Betsy, I think the only people who can turn magic are the animals, and that's what they're trying to cover up because they don't want to have any kind of magic in this world.
It's not fair. They get to be magic. How come I don't get to be magic?
Jeez.
That sounds like a white woman.
Oh, Jesus, Betsy. Well, I want to kind of move on a little bit from all of this stuff that we're already talking about here. You already kind of mentioned the songs. This is a musical, believe it or not. You already said that you didn't know any of the songs, but did you enjoy the songs that you were hearing?
Yes and no. Some of them I found kind of forgettable. Some of them I was just sort of like, they're fine. Maybe that was the part where I was being very distracted in the theater. The one I actually really liked was Jeff Goldblum's song, because Jeff Goldblum kind of got to sing in Wicked Part 1, but this time he got a full-blown song.
Yeah.
And because of what the song actually is, it's all about like where he came from and being a con man and designing this persona and how people just need somebody to buy a story from.
Yeah, as I said before, one of the lyrics in the song is "Take it from a wise old carny." He fucking calls himself a carny.
And he's showing off all his little devices and his toys that he's making.
His steampunk fucking eyeballs everywhere.
Yeah. And he's just dancing in his Jeff Goldblum way, and he's got a pleasant enough singing voice. He's not a great singer,
Yeah,
but he does
it's
perform.
more speak singing
Yeah.
like Michelle Yeoh does, and it's fine. I have no problem with it.
But it's because it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now I'm enjoying myself. Like up until
Fine,
this
yeah.
point, I was kind of like, oh God, is this whole movie gonna be like this? And then
bummer.
we get one big magical musical number where I'm like, okay, I'm having fun now.
Where people are actually
Yes!
smiling.
We are smiling, we're dancing, and that's the shit they're showing me in the trailer, which is why I'm like, okay, is there more of this anywhere in the second half? Because, yeah, I was really happy that Jeff Goldblum actually got to do more. So that's the one I really liked. I also liked the one that Elphaba sings when she's like, you know what? I have been trying to do good shit and
Yeah.
it's all backfiring.
It's her at the castle. I like that one too.
No good deed goes unpunished. So
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm never doing anything good ever again. And that's where she starts locking Dorothy in the basement and says, take off my fucking shoes, bitch.
Take off my sister's shoes.
Come on.
Which I'd have thought there. What does Dorothy think about all this singing happening around her outside of this dungeon that she's been locked in?
She's locked in the basement, and upstairs she hears, because I knew you.
Like, what the
because I knew you. What?
Crazy, crazy people singing at each other. Who are these voices?
What is happening in this country?
I just wanted to go and kill somebody to get home.
Yeah, rude. Rude much.
Rude much? Oh.
But yeah,
The more you think about the Wizard of Oz, Betsy, the more it's you're on a goddamn murder pact with your group of friends.
Trent, haven't you seen that thing describe a movie badly? The Wizard of Oz is my favorite one. A young girl kills and she will kill again.
Yes. But hey, speaking of killing, how the fuck are we introducing guns to this world? They never shoot anybody, but those are fucking guns.
Were they in the first one? Did we have guns at all?
No,
I guess
we had spears. The monkeys have spears.
We didn't really have the military guard as they
No,
appear
they
in this
had
one.
swords at the end of the first part. They had swords. Nobody had a gun.
I mean, those guns didn't look very practical. Was there actually a hole on the end? There's like
There
a
was.
curve?
There was.
I don't know. We didn't see it straight onto the camera. They just looked very silly. They looked like the trains. They're very long
Yeah.
and Art Deco.
Betsy, I saw the pink dildo train on that track.
They
A
have
lot of phallic symbols in this movie.
They got a lot of new shit in this movie. Things have changed in a year.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the songs before we move away from that topic completely, did you like the songs in this one?
No, I was bored. Betsy, that's the difference between this movie and the first movie. I actually got emotional in a number of the songs in the first one. I got none of that here. Even when they're crying at the end, talking about being good, I got none of the same feelings I had from the first one. I was very disappointed though. I wanted to like the musical nature of this, and yes, they had a little bit thrown in at the beginning, but even when they're doing their individual songs and they're feeling sad, and despite them coming together a couple of different times to sing at each other, it never recaptured the feelings and the emotions from the first one.
Yeah, the big song is Because I Knew You, I Have Been Changed for Good. And it is this emotional climax to the movie where the two of them are saying goodbye and they're never going to see each other again.
Yeah,
and by this point, I should be fucking sobbing. I was just kind of like, I wonder why I'm feeling nothing right now.
And, you know, the sentiment is there. They're really trying. And I don't know whether or not it was just, hey, we're filming this way after the first one was very successful.
Didn't. They filmed them at the same time. They filmed these simultaneously or like one after another.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it though.
I guarantee it though. I've heard this. It was a huge production, which is why they were like, we're doing this all at once.
Well, then I'm even more confused as to why the feeling is so different between 1 and 2.
I think it's just rushed. And because we haven't seen the musical, maybe on the stage this feels completely different to watch the second half and the songs play out differently.
Let's think about this as if it was a musical and the end of the first movie is the intermission and we come back and everything's a year in the future, whatever it is. Do you think that there is enough rising, not tension, but like rising emotional clarity, emotional payoff or anything under the sun? Is there enough here to earn a quote unquote happy ending?
That is a great question. My immediate answer feels like no, but I've also watched a lot of musical theater.
You have.
And I think that maybe some of these songs, because they don't feel cinematic, would actually feel bigger on stage. Like it's a weird effect that sometimes happens where you have a song like Defying Gravity and it's huge. It's this big musical number in the show. It's a big emotional musical number in the movie. But think back to when we watched Frozen. Let It Go in the movie was this big moment, and you were like, that was too fucking much. But maybe in the Broadway show, because they've turned Frozen into a Broadway show, it feels like just the right amount. And the reverse could be true, where these songs maybe just don't feel the same in a movie form. Like how they film it with the lighting, with what they're doing, with the costumes.
And I'm not saying anything about the production of the show. What I'm talking about here is the emotion.
Yes, and I'm saying that. I think that when you translate it to a smaller space, a more realistic space, it might feel different.
I'm just trying to envision what it would have been like after Defying Gravity. I come back after intermission. I sit back down. Our main characters have kind of gone their separate ways. Elphaba's doing her thing with trying to disrupt the Yellow Brick Road construction and trying to free the animals, and that's all fine. And Glinda is living the life that she's always wanted over here. But if I was sitting in the audience watching a show like this and we're seeing these different characters, think about other movies where your main characters separate and eventually come back together. When they do come back together in this movie, it feels like, oh, hey, come on in. Like it's kind of nothing. When Elphaba shows up on the wedding day and they haven't probably seen each other for whatever this time period is. And it's like it's nothing. Even though Glinda's been hearing all of the things that the Wicked Witch has been up to, and she's supposed to report her, she's supposed to hate her. I don't know. I don't feel the longing. I don't feel, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. Come inside. Let's talk.
We also don't have enough fear. Like they're saying, oh, there's all these bad things happening and the monkeys are going to see us, get inside. But they don't really build the tension.
There's no menace.
No, there's not really a menace. There's not a lot of tension. The songs are just kind of there. But I want more. That's the thing. This is why I said in the first half, they were adding to the story and making it longer. I think there's so much stuff in the second half that just sort of, here it is, the end.
Right.
Like we're going to do it. Like Fiyero disappears and she's off there and she's casting a spell and she's getting this vision. Oh no, he's dead. We know what happens to Fiyero because you can kind of see
getting crucified, by the way.
A little bit. He's beaten up and left in a cornfield.
Yeah.
But when they say the cornfield, it's like, oh, they're going to hang him up in the cornfield?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who do we find in the cornfield in The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
You can make a logical leap that he is the Scarecrow. They don't give us that until the last scene of the movie. And you and I had the same fucking thoughts.
Yes.
All we could look at with Mr. Jonathan Bailey when he's made up as the Scarecrow.
When he goes to the little trapdoor to rescue, to recover Elphaba and go on their merry way.
And it's the reveal of, oh my God, it's Fiyero.
Yeah, he's got a burlap face.
He looks like Ryan Reynolds.
His face looks like goddamn Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool.
He looks like Deadpool when he's all burnt up and shit.
Tell me we're wrong. Seriously.
It was really supposed to be this great moment of, oh my God, Fiero's alive.
He's
and they
the
get
Scarecrow.
He's the Scarecrow and they get to be together. And you and I are just by this point in the movie completely checked out and we're like, he just looks like Ryan Reynolds.
He just looks like Ryan Reynolds.
And I can't. So that was fun.
Yeah, exactly, Betsy. There should be so many paying off moments here of all of these characters that we've known for almost 100 years as a society coming back into our lives. Let's talk more about that.
Or don't have them in there at all. I get it.
I would have rather them not do it.
It's a parallel story to The Wizard of Oz. Either give us more or don't do it. And it's kind of an impossible story to tell without including the characters from The Wizard of Oz, but they appear. And she's just waving. Glinda is just like, bye, Dorothy, have fun, follow the yellow brick road. We don't see her again. We see her at a distance. We see her shadow throwing the bucket of water and celebrating.
It's as if they wanted to have more because that's what the audience wanted, but they didn't know where to stop. They both wanted to pull back and have it be kind of in the background and in the shadows, but at the same time, they knew that the audience was clamoring for it.
But
sometimes you have to pull back.
Talk more about it. Not even pull back. Give us more. You don't have to show it to me, but be talking about it. Dorothy is ever present in the background. This is a thing that's happening over there, and we're all aware of it. But she's barely in the movie. And they just have sort of throwaway scenes where they sort of say this is also going on.
Betsy, I would have appreciated this a lot more if literally the only shot of Dorothy we got in both movies. Number one, when they're on the yellow brick road and going to the Emerald City in the first movie, great. I loved that. And the second and only other time we see her is in shadow when she's throwing the bucket of water on her.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just don't ever address it at all otherwise.
Because say what you will about Judy Garland being this legendary actress, and this is the thing that put her on the map with the world, basically.
It's an iconic character.
Yes.
And anybody you cast in that role, it's going to be a problem.
So don't show her at all.
So they did that, but you still showed her. We don't see who it is.
They showed her like 5-6 times.
Right, but I mean, you never show her face. And that's
No,
fine.
no.
We didn't go that far, but just don't do it. Just show the shadow. Show the shoes. We don't give a shit. I'm here for Elphaba and for Glinda. That's the core of the story. And I get it. It's fucking Wizard of Oz fan fiction. That's what this entire thing is. And I knew it was going to get complicated. Frankly, I knew those two guys were going to be transformed. I'm glad you didn't.
No, I was completely surprised. When I saw the Tin Man coming on screen, like, holy fuck, they went there. But it should have ended there. Maybe see him from the back or like hold the axe or like just see his hat. This movie went too far and not far enough at the same time. I don't know how else to describe it.
And then they kept just like throwing things in at the last minute. So at the very end of the movie, Glinda's on the balcony and she's got the grimoire and it opens like it's gonna start working for her. Like she can actually start doing magic. But we don't see it. It's just the end of the movie. It's the implication that, oh, maybe she will have magic now.
Well, they also just said, well, Glinda can never know that we're alive.
Yeah, the two of them go into this magical in-between place between worlds.
Beyond Oz.
Yeah, just beyond Oz. No one really knows exactly what that means. But they also know there's kind of an alternate universe, which is where Dorothy comes from.
Yeah, she says something about, oh yeah, she comes from the land of Kansas.
And that's also where the wizard comes from.
Yeah.
And he is her father. And that's why she's so powerful.
I don't want to go down this road because we talked about that in the first episode.
Trent, they literally, again, they confirm it, but they don't elaborate. It's just, she was yours all along. That's why she was so powerful, because she was of two worlds. That's why she's born with magic, because her father is a human from Earth and her mother is from the land of Oz. And that's why she's green and that's why she's magic.
I have a scowl on my face
I would
right
rather,
now.
again, I'd rather you wouldn't have explained it to me.
Yep.
Just let it be a mystery. Some things don't need to be explained.
Why does it matter that the wizard is the father? Why is there ever a mention of father and daughter and anything under the sun like that? It doesn't matter. It makes him feel guilty, and that's it. It makes him feel guilty enough for murdering his daughter that he agrees, okay, don't say anything to these people about, oh, that was my daughter that I killed. I have to go away. Fine, I'll go away.
I'll piss off now. Yeah. But again, end of the movie. All this stuff happens in the last like 20 to 30 minutes. The rest of the time, it's just, okay, her and Fiera are going to fuck now. And they're having this song. And I'm like, where did this come from?
They're literally floating and then they land in bed and start making out.
Yeah.
That was a lot more than what I was expecting for a PG movie that a lot of kids are going to go and see.
Yeah.
And then they come back and he's got his shirt off and they're in bed together and whoa.
But then they separate and all of a sudden he's with the flying monkeys. And I'm like, did I black out for a second? Why is he here? What's happening?
Yeah. But Betsy, before this episode becomes like 5 hours long, like the entirety of both movies combined, what else did you really want to talk about here?
I think the single best scene in the movie is when Glinda and Elphaba have a slap fight. They start fighting, and then Glinda is like flipping her wand around and spinning it like she's
the
gonna
wand
kung fu
against
her.
broom, and then they start throwing hands.
It's like the one funny thing that happens in the movie, especially during this part of the movie. And I'm like, okay, I liked that.
It's a little humorous, but I don't think it fits.
It didn't need to be there.
No,
but if
because
it wasn't there, Trent.
Glinda's trying to be this jealous little shit, and Elphaba's like, whatever, he never loved you. What the fuck? Why do you need to have this catty moment between women? That sucks.
But also, if you don't have some kind of funny moment here, the movie is very, very serious, like the whole time.
That's why I say it doesn't fit.
Women are like this, Trent, about men. It's a stupid reason to have a fight, but it is. It is what they're fighting about.
I guess. Well, Betsy, there is actually one thing here that I want to say that is very positive about the movie. We haven't said a whole lot of positive things yet, but
it's not even that bad a movie. It's not like it's unwatchable, but go on.
I want to talk about the scene where Elphaba encounters all of the different animals who are leaving Oz. And the question is asked, why would you want to stay in a place where people don't want you? I think that concept is very, very prescient to today, where people talk about, well, if you don't like the place so much, why don't you fucking leave?
All of the billionaires are fleeing New York, Trent. Oh my God.
Or why would you criticize the place that you're from or the place that you live? If you don't like it, just fucking leave.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying
that is just a shitty attitude. And the thing that she's kind of saying here through song is, yeah, the place I am right now, Oz, I love Oz. This is my home. I've always been here. I want to make it better. And if they were to have leaned into that messaging more and have this be kind of a hopeful thing and be a beacon of just, I don't know, hope, positivity, whatever words you want to throw at this, have the animals be more involved, focus more on the animal portion of it, because that fucking sucks too. But that sentiment that they're kind of talking about here in the song, and everybody's just leaving because no one fucking wants us anymore. Fuck that. You stay and fight. Try to make the place that you're from better.
Yeah, there are things they're trying to do in this, and I don't know how prevalent that is in the show. I said it with the first movie where, oh, people watch this and go, this is about me, like being an outcast, being alone. That stuff made sense in the first one. This one, it's not about that, but I don't really know what it is about, because now she's wicked, and it's the things you're saying, which, yes, that is relevant to stuff that we are talking about in the real world today.
Totally.
But we didn't completely go there. There's only like a couple scenes where we go into that theme.
That's what I was talking about before, about the first movie seemed like its own thing. And this movie seemed like the extension of The Wizard of Oz, and it was just trying to crib from that and wasn't its own thing.
When the two worlds are starting to collide, it becomes too much about how do we fit these pieces together in the puzzle, and not as much about the story as a whole.
Yeah, it became less Wicked and more Wizard of Oz. So I think that's kind of where we have to leave it, Betsy. Except for the fact that we have to talk about Oscars, because one of the reasons why we're doing this episode in the first place is because the first movie got nominated for Best Picture and a whole lot of other production designs and whatever the hell else. How are you feeling about this one? Because as we sit here, Wicked for Good is sitting at, I think, 70% on Rotten Tomatoes when it comes to the critic score. Audiences, however, is like the mid-90s still. Not to say that movies that have bad Rotten Tomato scores don't get nominated for Best Picture.
Oh, it happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
It
happens all the time. I started to watch one this morning that was nominated a few years ago. That's at like 59% right now. But where are you sitting right now for Oscar talk?
Trent, here's the thing. It's probably going to get nominated because it would seem very illogical to nominate the first and not the second, even if the product overall is less exciting. I don't think it's going to get nearly as many. It won for production design and costumes for the first one.
And it deserved it.
And it absolutely deserved it. But in this one, the costumes are less prevalent. Like mostly we're looking at Glinda. The rest of them are costumes we've kind of already seen because they were in the first one.
Right.
The production design, we didn't do anything extra, and you already awarded the first movie, so maybe you'll give them a nomination, but I feel like we could put those on the back burner since we already gave it to the first movie. They're going to try to go for original song, so we'll see. That one might get in there.
There aren't a lot of original songs that come out for movies these days, so it's probably going to get that one at the very least.
A lot of people are still thinking this is going to get acting nominations because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande got nominated for the first one.
Yep.
A lot of people are leaning towards, yes, they'll get nominated in the second one. Now, I will say, Cynthia Erivo, good. I didn't like this performance as much as her performance in the first one.
Agreed.
Ariana Grande is actually doing something different.
She's doing more in this.
She's doing more in this. I think she could still get nominated. I think that if anybody comes away with one, it would be her. Some people are also even saying Jonathan Bailey. That one I don't buy as much because he's not in the movie for very long.
No. And I'm agreeing with everything you're saying here as far as the first movie was so big and so colorful and so just out there and original that it absolutely deserved to get the nominations and some of the wins it got. Acting is a much harder stretch for both movies, I think. I don't mind that they both got nominated in the first movie. I have a much harder time saying the same thing about the second movie, though.
I don't feel as strongly about it in this one.
But you're right. Ariana does do more in this movie than in the first one because she has kind of an arc, but the overall movie just kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth for all of it. If I'm going to say anything here, it's going to get 2. If it's going to get Best Picture, it'll get that and it'll get the original song and maybe nothing else. Maybe effects. Effects, sure. Because you got Glinda flying around, which, by the way, I wanted to mention here before we get out of here. The tone to start the movie with a fucking action scene, way out there for me. What the hell was that about?
We're building the yellow brick road and then shit goes down.
Yeah, that set a tone for this movie that I was already kind of out of it at that point. I do not come to Wicked Part 2 for an action scene. But anyway, that's kind of my opinion here about Oscar stuff. If it gets nominated for Best Picture, even that's a stretch in my mind.
But like I said, when it's a part 2 and they already nominated the first one, it's not going to win. Like that would be way too much.
No.
But in a field of 10 movies, and looking at all of the other ones that are consistently like, well, this one is coming and going. Like when we watched Begonia's been on some lists and then it's not on other lists. This one feels more like, well, the goodwill and the people who loved the first one are going to drag it along.
You pulled it off. That's going to be the sentiment here. And Universal's probably just going to be pushing the ever-loving shit out of it. It's probably going to get the nomination for Best Picture. I hope it does for our sake, because then, hey, we didn't waste this slot talking about it.
We would have watched it either way,
we absolutely would have watched it, but maybe not until next year sometime.
Well, we liked the first one, and we were going to see the second one no matter what, Trent. It was just a matter of if we did an episode for it. And because it's in the Oscar conversation, seemed prudent to do so.
Yeah, and if you go back and listen to that first episode, I was very pessimistic about going to see fucking Wicked the first time. I walked out of that thing fucking beaming. I loved that movie. But this one is maybe what I expected to feel going into the first one. Does that make sense?
You basically had the opposite reactions to each movie. You thought you wouldn't like the first, you loved it. You thought you'd love the second, and you're kind of, kind of underwhelmed.
That's where I'm feeling right now. But all right, Wicked for good. You're fair. You're not good. You're fair.
I will give it the benefit of the doubt in that we did have a shitty theater experience, and I'll watch it again to see if that changes. If I'm watching it in my own home without crappy people talking next to me, because you wouldn't be so rude to me, Trent.
Well,
you would never.
Betsy, I feel like I'm going to give part of this a pass, because at moments I was bored in the movie, and so were the people in the theater.
Yeah, that's the reason I say I don't think it was exclusively that experience tainting it, but I think it's not fair to talk about the movie without mentioning that that was a factor. But I will watch it again to see if I change my mind. Now that I know, because sometimes I think when your expectations of a movie are high, it's really hard to meet the expectation. And this is one of those we've been talking about since fucking January. It's now almost December. So we've had all of that time to think about what is the second part of Wicked going to be? What's going to happen? How is this going to go down? When we went from, I'm not really interested in seeing Wicked. You know, that's a big shift. And suddenly you're bought in and you're excited. And then you go see it and you're like, oh,
Yeah, I'm disappointed. Maybe that's just what it is. I expected
maybe that's it.
I expected the same kind of emotional reaction that I had to the first one, but I didn't get it. So this is where I'm sitting. But anyway, folks, did you see Wicked for Good? Were you one of those shitty teenagers who was in the theater with us? Explain yourselves. I want to talk to you. I want to give you a piece of my mind. Email us. Kids don't know what email is. Email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Betsy, I'm going to blow your mind right now, but we got an email from our super fan Stephanie, but not about Wicked. It's about a different witch movie called The Witch. Hey! Back in October for Never Scream It, we covered The Witch from Robert Eggers. Stephanie said, so I know on an intellectual level that this is a good movie. However, I have watched it twice and fell asleep both times. I find it slow and not scary enough for me to want to watch it during spooky month. The acting is good and the story is interesting. The characters and their motivations are all intriguing, but for some reason it just bores me. Yeah, I get that. I can see how if you watch a lot of scary movies and you are used to the mile-a-minute scares coming at you through the screen, maybe Robert Eggers is not your style.
It's also that new wave of A24 horror where the movie is not about what you think the movie is about.
Yes.
It's a different kind of scary.
Yeah, I get that. She finishes by saying, this week we watched Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Agatha All Along, Smile, and Smile 2. Love you guys from Superfan Stephanie.
Yeah, obviously we were holding on to that email for a little while because we've been doing these out of order.
We decided, hey, we got this email about The Witch. What witch movie could we read this on? Oh, wait, we're going to do Wicked 2.
Seemed only appropriate.
Yeah. But again, email us neverseenitpod@gmail.com to tell us all of what your movie theater experiences were going to see Wicked 2. Did you have a similar thing? What is your etiquette when it comes? And we're going to talk about this on Patreon probably. What is your etiquette when it comes to shitty people in the theater? Do you speak up?
Are you a shusher?
Do you shush them? Are you like Camille Nanjiani that says, I will shush you and you will be shushed? Tell us. Either through email or go to our social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube now.
Or you know what? Tell us your worst movie theater experience for people, like a people problem. I want to hear those stories.
Yeah. As I mentioned already, patreon.com/neverseenapod is where you can go for all of our rantings about our movie theater experiences and a whole lot of other non-movie related conversations. We have a show called The Conversation Pit, where, by the way, in Wicked 2, there's a fucking conversation pit in that movie.
Ariana Grande got one.
That's
it's
right.
Pretty great.
Yeah. Check us out over on Patreon, where we have all sorts of different shows over there, including The Conversation Pit, where Betsy and I just talk about a topic that just happens to be on our mind. But with that, I'm going to call this an episode that is Wicked for Good. Betsy, next week is a brand new month, and we are continuing on with 2025 movies in the conversation for Oscars. What are we going to be covering for the first week in December?
We are going back to Netflix, Trent, because we will be covering the new Guillermo del Toro adaptation of Frankenstein.
I am so excited for the new Frankenstein movie, Betsy.
Same, Trent.
We've heard so many great things, and I cannot wait to experience it with you and all the fine people out there. So until next week, my name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
This has been Never Seen It. Bye-bye.
Bye.